Hi and welcome everyone, this is the Hobo Prepper and I'm Friar Tuck. So today I'm going to be doing a journal entry one, but I'm also going to be talking about things that I am seeing going on around here. This was something that was suggested by a viewer that they wanted to know kind of the things that I'm seeing and that I'm observing that are going on around me. And, you know, having PTSD, one of the cool things is I get to hear things that I'm probably not supposed to hear. I'm not trying to listen. I really am not. But, you know, at the same time, I mean, I might as well take advantage of it. I mean, my hearing is pinpointed to hear people and things that are going on around me. So one of the things that I heard on my way here to the hotel room is there's this lady and she was talking about being in a cheerleader competition with some of her students. She was like a coach. And one thing that I found really interesting, and I'm wondering if it's politically motivated, if this is part of the woke crowd and stuff, but the lady and her team, they apparently came in second place, but the judge decided not to tally up their score and then tell them that they didn't actually make it. Now, I found that to be really strange because that throws a kink in everything as far as the way that they're trying to conduct their operations. I mean, you got to have enough time to prep, and you know, if you're going to go on the road for more competitions, or because you made it to the next level, well, it's important that you get the right information. And I found that really strange. I wasn't really trying to listen to the lady. I just happened to be sitting next to him, and when they mentioned hotel rooms, I was like, hey, you know what? I use hotels.com. You know, and after 10 nights of renting, they average everything together, and then you can get a free room. And that's usually how I've traveled all these years whenever I've done hotels. And but you know, today for my hotel it was much different. They wanted 101 a night through hotels.com. However, I called up the hotel directly, asked them for the best rate, and they put me in at 91 after tax. So I saved about $10, which is really good for me. Another thing that I'm noticing is that people are really hurting, and they're not really talking about it. One of the things that it seems to really be somewhat confusing to me is that I notice that people are talking about how things are expensive and how things are just kind of going out of control on one side, but on the other side they're just like, it'll get better soon, or everything will work out. And I think that this it's making people docile, and I don't know exactly how to interpret it, and I'm sure you might be able to tell me down in the comments and share your thoughts on this as far as what you're noticing. But so this, when I come up to actually come in my room, another thing I'm hearing this lady screaming at either a bank or a credit card, talking about how she's gonna have to sleep in the car because they just cut her card off. And I don't know why. I mean, I'm not gonna, I can only speculate. But to hear something like that, and I was even worried when I put my deposit in, because I had to go deposit cash so that I could use my card. Because if you use your card at these hotels now, and this is something that is still new within like the last year, most hotels now are charging a deposit. And so, you know, not only do you have to pay astronomical rates for a hotel, but then you've also got to come out of pocket even more for a deposit, because I don't know if it's, well, I had one lady at the front desk explain it to me that they've been getting a lot of lawsuits lately, and with these lawsuits, they just decided to start collecting deposits, and so this is going to be directly affecting people. So if you're on the road and you were planning on staying in a hotel, you better expect to have about twice as much as the hotel costs, because your deposit can be anywhere from $50 to $200. The first hotel I stayed at, for some reason they only charged me $100, but on their posted note it said that they charged a $200 deposit. This should and I wouldn't be surprised if over the next few months, if you start seeing the hospitality, especially the hotel industry, really starting to take a nosedive because of this whole deposit and then the raising rates. I'm at Red Roof Inn Plus, which quite frankly, it's worth the $90 because of the location. I mean, right next door I went and had some Cracker Barrel. Man, it's been so long since I've had a good meal. I had to come here to Cracker Barrel for some comfort food. So I've got, what is this? Hash brown casserole, sausage patties, eggs, and then world famous biscuits and gravy. This is why I love coming to Cracker Barrel. They have some of the best biscuits and gravy I've ever had. And then on top of that, you know, I mean, I got a Circle K right there. I got a McDonald's. So I've got plenty of places to go grab something to eat, which is really, really good for me because, you know, it's rare that I get a good cooked meal. I'm usually eating these MREs. And just to kind of give you an idea of what it's like eating these MREs, the creamy chicken and broccoli soup was really, really good. The creamy part of it, that's really what made it soothe my stomach. It was very comforting. The oatmeal, both the oatmeal that came in from My Patriot Supply plus the rolled oats that Bridget has sent me, I would say that the rolled oats that Bridget sent me are better, but both are kind of very upsetting to my stomach. I had a hard time because the first day that I worked doing the painting, I ended up, the next morning, I ended up making myself some oatmeal, and man, I had my stomach upset and nauseous all day. I think a lot of it is just because of how sensitive my stomach is, and just the fact that it was gel. It really wasn't that good. But the stuff that I was eating, the rolled oats, now you put them in water because there are some impurities in it, but quite frankly, when it comes down to it, it tastes so much better, and it's not some sort of gel like what you get from like Quaker Oats or My Patriot Supply and stuff like that. I've eaten through the good stuff, and now I really have what I consider to be my emergency stash, which is my rice, my oats, and I have some spices and some noodles. I'm trying to kind of conserve that because as I get on the road, being able to make sure that I have food, even if it's not the greatest food. You know, one of the things from one of the videos that I was watching is even in the Great Depression, you know, the people didn't starve, you know, but they also didn't really eat that great of food. I mean, you know, rice and oats and beans, you know, may be all that you can eat. You're not going to starve, but, you know, you're not also going to be well nourished. We've kind of been spoiled in our modern society with all the different flavors and this and that and everything that you can get. And so if you're prepping, one of the things that you should really consider is that most of your basic staples are going to go away, and you're going to have to go down to the basics. So beans and rice and oats, and you know, and then you're just going to have to learn how to make it really taste really good with the different spices, and that's really going to be where you get your nutrition from in the first place. But you know, another thing about people that are hurting, and I don't know if it's the guy that I was working for, so he paid me on time the first day, so he paid me for the 2 days work, and then yesterday at about 11 o'clock he sends me a message saying, oh, well, I'm not going to make it today, you know, I'm like, okay. So I send him a message, well, you know, I have to go get a hotel room tomorrow, and you know, I need to get paid before then. Well, I did not hear hide nor hair. I finished out the day. I didn't do the full 8 hours. I did like 7.5 because I'm just like, towards the end of the day, I'm like, if this guy isn't even going to give me a response of, okay, I see it, I acknowledge it, something like that, then, you know, there starts raising some red flags. I mean, him saying that he wasn't going to show up and then not responding was a big enough red flag. But so I ended up working and giving up $100 worth of labor because this guy just, I don't know, he's flaking out. And so I finally messaged him again. And I said, hey, look, I need to get paid, you know, because I don't want to be a beggar. One of the things that I find to be the most humiliating, I would rather go without than be a beggar, because it's demoralizing. At least to me, it is. So if I show up on time and if I work my butt off and I do everything that I'm supposed to do, I shouldn't have a worry about whether or not you're going to pay me. And I don't know if it's because the guy knows that I'm a traveler. He might be trying to get me to come back and be like, oh, well, you got to come back and da 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 tomorrow, which I'm not going to do until he pays me. And I have no intention of continuing, especially after this experience, because, yeah, he sent me a message saying, oh, yeah, I got a hangover. I got really plastered yesterday. So you got so plastered that you couldn't be responsible enough to take care of somebody that's working for you. And all the years that I owned a business, my employees, the people that worked for me, they took precedent over me. I would go without before I would ever short any of my employees, even the ones that I didn't like or that I thought were a waste of money, because they're, you're gonna have those type of people. I've never ever shorted anybody or refused to pay them as much as I wanted to. Sometimes there's been a couple of instances where I'm like, dude, no. Yeah, if this were a different world, I wouldn't be paying you. But the thing is, also, you want to be honest with people because you want people to be honest with you. And that means sometimes you just got to pay somebody, just even though you don't want to. It's just the way it is. And, I think that I may have ended up getting shorted by this guy. So, I mean, I'm $100 short. Oh, well. I will have to deal with the consequences. But you know what? I'm glad I got a hotel room for tonight. I've got food and I've got water. I've got everything that I need to be able to survive. So it's not like I'm going to go without. But on the same end, it's just going to make life a little bit more difficult. And this is one of those 20% misery type things, especially considering it rained for another 4 hours last night. OMG, Becky. So it's like it was soggy, and I was looking at the radar, and the funny thing is that spot right there, it was like it had a permanent rain cloud over it. As soon as I got about 5 miles away from the epicenter, it was clear. The weather's been great, everything's been dry, but that particular spot, I don't know if it's because it's over the state forest and the state park that's there, if that just gives it perfect conditions, or if it's just I'm drawing the rainy day to me. Who knows? I mean, you could. We have so much control over our reality in our thoughts that sometimes we think that it's just the world, and it turns out to be us. I had to roll everything up wet. I have everything I had got soaked. I mean, it was a deluge. There's no way that anything would ever stay dry. I mean, if it would have rained for like an hour or so, my stuff would have been able to handle it. But, over the past, I think it's like 3 days, it has been like non-stop raining. It will rain. It will stop for a couple of hours, and then it'll go right back to raining, and then it'll stop for a couple of hours, and it'll go right back to raining. And it was never ending. So, having this hotel room was important for me, so that, as you can see behind me, I threw everything in the washer, but somebody had the dryer, so I just figured I would hang dry my stuff, which is fine, as long as it's washed and I got all that bacteria, because I know that just sitting in the water from getting soaked, it's just, it is what it is. But this is the experiences that I have been seeing and witnessing over the last 24, 48 hours that I thought that I would share with you, because this is something that you as subscribers have asked for. And, I don't know how to be able to protect myself, and this might be something that you guys can offer me as advice, because owning a business, if I walked into a house or I walked into a business and I was worried about them paying me, I would demand something up front, and just to see what they would do and what they would say, and depending upon how they reacted would be whether or not I packed up my stuff or not. Because in business right now, and this is an epidemic that is really happening across the country, and this is going to affect a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, are probably going to be going belly up very, very soon, just because of these people that are doing, they're getting service and then they refuse to pay for it. And this is happening, and there's no real law enforcement to come in there and to protect you. And even if the law shows up, they're going to tell you, oh, it's a civil matter, which it is. And so then, what's the point in going to court with somebody somebody over 30 to like $200. Unless you're going to court with somebody for $1,000 or more, it's really not worth it, at least in my opinion. And then you got to lien and levy and go through that whole rigmarole to get it. And people are starting to get hip to this, and it's allowing them to do bad business. And so as a business, you know, you operate on good faith. These people call, they schedule service, and then and you show up and you do service, and you operate it on good faith, which is a legal term, and then they take advantage of that good faith and go, I ain't gonna pay you, and you can't do nothing about it. So if you are looking at dealing with businesses, this is something that, you know, they're probably gonna want money up front or something up front, especially if they have a lot of people misusing their service. So don't be surprised if you have to call somebody out and then they want money up front before they even do any work. But you know, for me as a traveler, maybe you guys can advise me, how do I ensure that this doesn't happen again, where this guy, because I mean, I could have stopped at 11 o'clock yesterday and been like, okay, well, I guess I'm just gonna hang out here and do nothing. But what if the guy was just really busy? So, I mean, I gave him until the end of the day, and the next morning when I woke up, there was still no response. I had to reach out to him once I got in here to my hotel room to be like, hey, what's going on? And will this guy show up? I don't know. I hope he does. I really do, but I don't think he will. And, you know, but luckily things are going to be working out for me in the next few days. Tomorrow, I have a meeting which, as long as everything goes the way I hope and I expect, and that I'm able to present the product. Now, whether or not it sells does not really affect whether or not I get paid, but it is my preparedness, and it is my ability to do a presentation that that the client feels comfortable with, and that is part of the contract. And so if I don't fulfill it, then that person may say, hey, look, I may not pay you, and that's okay. If I fall short of expectations, well, then I fall short of expectations. I mean, as long as, if I really screw it up, I mean, even in my cleaning business, sometimes I've had to walk out and be like, you know what? I screwed up. This one's on me. I'm sorry, and so on and so forth. Now, I don't expect that to happen, but, you know, just like everything, you plan for the worst and hope for the best. That way you're not ever really truly caught off guard. But, you know, if you guys could offer me some suggestions on how to be able to protect myself so that I don't get put in this situation again, where I'm going to get hosed or shortchanged by somebody because of it. And he had plenty of opportunity to get rid of me, to move me on. I even made sure to double check, are you happy with my work? Am I moving fast enough? Because if he gave me any indication that I wasn't meeting his or exceeding his expectations, I would have stopped right then and there, because it's not worth him paying for something that he's not going to be satisfied, and it's not worth me working extra hours and then having to fight him to get his money. So, I mean, and, you know, those things are doing really good. But also, Paul finally got done with his lawsuit with his aunt. And something that I found fascinating is not only did she try, or she actually did, she stole the money that he got from the lawsuit for the police brutality that you heard me talk about a couple months ago, but she also stole 3 separate inheritance, one from his mom, one from his grandpa, and one from his brother that was supposed to go to him, because those people cared about him. They were his caretakers. And his aunt managed to pocket all of that. And yeah, so that came out. So I think it's kind of funny that Paul is an autistic millionaire, or very close to a millionaire if he's not a millionaire, once all this is said and done. But it's going to take about a week for, well, actually it should happen by next Friday is when he is expected to have his bank account released so that he can do what he needs to do. and pay me, and then I will have money to be on the road with. So it looks like things are going to be looking up and moving in the right direction for me. It's just I still have to be a little bit patient. Hey guys, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I have a tip jar and down there if you'd like to leave me a tip. And I also have affiliate links. This is how I support the channel, is between your I want to monetize it to 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, plus offset it with the gear that I use as through the affiliate links. And if anybody finds value in the stuff that I do, hey, you can leave me a tip in the tip jar. It goes towards a good cause. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.